We're in for a treat today, folks. Post-jungle Lex Fridman, if you know, you know, in conversation with Elon Musk, specifically some segments and highlights relating to Tesla, Optimus, and artificial intelligence.
Nice.
Because the reaction time would be faster.
I got to visit Memphis.
Yeah.
You're going big on compute.
Yeah.
And you've also said play to win or don't play at all. So
Yeah.
What does it take to win?
For AI, that means you've got to have the most powerful training compute. And the rate of improvement of training compute has to be faster than everyone else, or you will not win.
And on that note, just a quick reminder in case you forgot or missed it. On July 4th, Elon Musk posting this Tesla Gigafactory supercomputer cluster.
Hey everyone, happy July 4th. Some fireworks in the background. Just here at the Tesla Gigafactory. We're finalizing the construction of the supercomputer cluster here, which is at the Sound Extension. And we hopefully will have this online in a few months.
Now this is awkward, but why did I show that clip? I've already forgotten. Musk was just talking about how if you don't have fuck tons of training compute and continue to scale and invest aggressively, you know, like billions of dollars a quarter type of thing like Tesla's doing, then you cannot win when it comes to AI. And then for some reason I felt the need to show Musk at Giga Texas on July 4th, showing the finalization of construction of Tesla's gigantic AI training supercluster. What was the point I was trying to make there? Let's see here. You need the fucking gigantic supercluster to win AI. Here's a gigantic fucking supercluster for winning AI. Oh, wait, I know the point. That's right. Oh, I remember now. Yeah, Tesla has already won the race to solve autonomy. And if there are any companies attempting to create a generalized solution for autonomy, and you don't see their leaders posting videos on X of their gigantic AI superclusters, they're not even in the race, let alone in with a chance to win.
Or AI will be worse.
So how can Grok, let's say 3, that might be available, like next year?
Well, hopefully end of this year.
Grok 3.
If we're lucky. Yeah.
How can that be the best LLM, the best AI system available in the world? How much of it is compute? How much of it is data? How much of it is like post-training? How much of it is the product that you package it up in? All that kind of stuff. I
mean, they won't matter. It's sort of like saying what you know, let's say it's a Formula One race, like what matters more, the car or the driver? I mean, they both matter. If your car is not fast, then, you know, if it's like, let's say it's half the horsepower of a competitor's, the best driver will still lose. If it's twice the horsepower, then probably even a mediocre driver will still win. So the training computer is kind of like the engine. There's horsepower of the engine. So you want to try to do the best on that, and then so how efficiently do you use that training compute, and how efficiently do you do the inference, the use of the AI? So obviously that comes down to human talent, and then what unique access to data do you have? That's also plays a role.
Did someone say unique access to data? No. Despite the fact that this question was asked specifically around Grok, XAI's large language model, and eventually many other things as well, Musk's comments relate heavily to Tesla. And by the way, it's going to be a lot more Tesla-specific detail in a moment. But as I have said in the past, Tesla is the only company that has access to fleet-scale data in the real world for training vehicles to drive autonomously. They have close to 7 million vehicles covered in sensors collecting data today, and that fleet continues to grow. There are no other companies on Earth within orders of magnitude in terms of a comparable fleet with vehicles covered in sensors. This is very different to the training data, not for autonomy, but for a language model like ChatGPT or Grok. Why? Because the internet is full of language, text-based information, video content. Most of it can be accessed free. It's in the public domain. It's available. It can be scraped. It's already been scraped. There are also licensing agreements. For example, the cesspool of cesspools, once great, no longer Reddit licensing data. You can train off the Reddit data if you want absolutely horrendous output. The collective geniuses of the world's basement-dwelling neckbeards rolled into one. Train on Reddit data, you'll get that. But there's a huge portion of the internet that's available to everyone. Now, there are some unique sources, X itself, for example. But the point I'm making here is just about any company, should they wish to create an LLM, can do so with almost zero cost regarding data, because there's so much stuff already available online for free in the open. In contrast, for a company to solve autonomy, they need real-world data. There is no equivalent internet of real-world data that people can just start scraping from. So to Musk's point about unique sources of data, this really matters, especially when it comes to autonomy and any forms of artificial intelligence, embodied AI, that moves either on wheels, legs, or who knows what else in the real world. If you don't have the data, you do not have a chance. And as it stands today, Tesla's the only company collecting data at scale for the real world to solve autonomy, meaning no other company has a chance. And if we follow this to its logical conclusion, the only way for any companies to get equivalent amounts of data to Tesla is either license data from Tesla, which why bother, just license the FSD instead, or to probably, I'd say, put about $1 trillion of product onto the road today, covered in sensors. I'm not kidding, by the way. It's a pretty rough estimate of the cost. It'd be slightly larger than Tesla's existing fleet, which would give them a slight advantage in collecting data. And then you'd have to assume that they could continue to produce more vehicles and put more vehicles on roads faster than Tesla continues to scale and put more vehicles on roads. I really think when it comes to autonomy, unlike LLMs, who knows who wins that? There'd probably be multiple winners. There's only one winner for generalized autonomy. It's Tesla. It's already obvious. And it's because of the unique data set. No one else has access. No one's collecting it. GG.
You think Twitter data would be useful?
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the leading AI companies have already scraped all the Twitter data. Not I think they have. So on a go forward basis, what's useful is the fact that it's up to the second.
Yes.
That's because it's hard for them to scrape in real time. So there's an immediacy advantage that Grok has already. I think with Tesla and the real time video coming from the several million cars, ultimately tens of millions of cars, with Optimus, there might be hundreds of millions of Optimus robots, maybe billions.
Just wanted to take a moment here because words matter. Musk there just referred to a Tesla fleet ultimately in the tens of millions. He then goes on to suggest the potential Optimus humanoid robot fleet of hundreds of millions, potentially billions. So we're talking 1-2 orders of magnitude more Optimus humanoid robots in the world over the long term than Tesla vehicles on roads. And remember, Tesla alone aiming to produce 20 million vehicles a year at an annualized rate in the future. 5 years at that production rate, that's 100 million vehicles. But it's more correct to say tens of millions if you're thinking the fleet ultimately gets to maybe 100, 120, 150 million vehicles and they're being retired, recycled and so on, than it would be to say hundreds of millions when it's never going to exceed 200 or probably not. So this is an insight into the scale of the opportunity that Musk sees with humanoid robots. Just take a moment to imagine, if you will, a world with, let's just say, 500 million Optimus humanoid robots, or all the way up to 1 billion or more. Imagine what that would look like. Has there ever been a larger opportunity? That's a trick question. The answer is no. Will there ever be a larger opportunity? I actually don't know how to even think about that. And the final question, have you modeled out the potential growth of Tesla's humanoid robot fleet over the next few decades? If not, you have fucked up.
Learning a tremendous amount from the real world. That's the biggest source of data. I think ultimately is sort of Optimus probably. Optimus is going to be the biggest source of data.
Dude ain't wrong. Tesla's fleet is a nice starting point, a stepping stone, but there'll be many more Optimus humanoid robots on Earth long term than there will be Tesla vehicles, meaning Tesla's Optimus fleet is going to be collecting more data in the real world by far than their vehicle fleet, which is collecting more real world data than anything else already by multiple orders of magnitude. Things are about to get real fucking crazy.
Because
reality scales. Reality scales to the scale of reality. It's actually humbling to see how little data humans have actually been able to accumulate. Really, if you say how many trillions of usable tokens have humans generated, where on a non-duplicative, like discounting spam and repetitive stuff, it's not a huge number. You run out pretty quickly.
And Optimus can go. So Tesla cars unfortunately have to stay on the road. Optimus robot can go anywhere. There's more reality off the road and go off road.
I mean, like the Optimus robot can like pick up the cup and see, did it pick up the cup in the right way? Did it, say, pour water in the cup? Did the water go in the cup or not go in the cup? Did it spill water or not?
Yeah.
Simple stuff like that. I mean, but it can do that at scale times 1 billion. So
once again, words matter, and doing that at scale times 1 billion equals 1 billion Optimus humanoid robots. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but please take the time and actually model out what that might look like. The back of the napkin math is real simple. Just multiply 1 billion times whatever these things are going to be sold for. Then whatever the margin's going to be, call it 10%, 20%, 30%, who cares, whatever. You're now looking at gross profit on 1 billion humanoid robots. The number's so fucking big. I'm not doing the math for you because you guys will just have a 404 error. You will not be able to believe the number. It's that big. And then make sure you have a mop and bucket handy to clean up the mess, because the next step is to multiply 1 billion active humanoid robots by whatever the software powering these things costs per month times whatever the gross margin on that is, which will be extremely high. And congratulations, you now know why I am still buying Tesla stock with every spare cent and will not shut the fuck up about the company.
Generate useful data from reality. So cause and effect stuff.
What do you think it takes to get to mass production of humanoid robots like that?
It's the same as cars, really. I mean, global capacity for vehicles is about 100 million a year. And it could be higher. It's just that the demand is on the order of 100 million a year. And then there's roughly 2 billion vehicles that are in use in some way. So, which makes sense. Like the life of a vehicle is about 20 years. So at steady state, you can have 100 million vehicles produced a year with a 2 billion vehicle fleet, roughly. Now, for humanoid robots, the utility is much greater. So my guess is humanoid robots are more like at a billion plus per year.
But, until you came along and started building Optimus, it was thought to be an extremely difficult problem. I mean, it's an extremely difficult problem.
So it's no walk in the park. I mean, Optimus currently would struggle to walk in the park.
It's just pretty funny and true. And as much as Lex and Elon can laugh today, a couple of decades from now, if Tesla is successful in scaling up their humanoid robot fleet, and I have every belief that they will be, the scale of what they do in terms of transforming the world, adding value, and, of course, from a business point of view and an investment point of view, is going to be no laughing matter.
I mean, it can walk in a park. Park is not too difficult, but it will be able to walk over a wide range of terrain.
Yeah, and pick up objects.
Yeah. It can already do that.
But like all kinds of objects.
Yeah.
All foreign objects. I mean, pouring water in a cup is not trivial. Because then if you don't know anything about the container, it could be all kinds of containers.
Yeah, there's going to be an immense amount of engineering just going into the hand.
Yeah.
The hand might be close to half of all the engineering in Optimus. From an electromechanical standpoint, the hand is probably roughly half of the engineering.
But so much of the intelligence of humans goes into what we do with our hands.
Yeah.
There's the manipulation of the world, manipulation of objects in the world, intelligent, safe manipulation of objects in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you start really thinking about your hand and how it works.
I do all the time.
The sensory and control homunculus is we have humongous hands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like your hands, the actuators, the muscles of your hand are almost overwhelmingly in your forearm.
Mm-hmm.
So your forearm has the muscles that actually control your hand. There's a few small muscles in the hand itself, but your hand is really like a skeleton meat puppet, and with cables so the muscles that control your fingers are in your forearm, and they go through the carpal tunnel, which is that you've got a little collection of bones and a tiny tunnel that these cables, the tendons, go through, and those tendons are mostly what moves your hands.
And something like those tendons has to be re-engineered into the Optimus in order to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so like the current Optimus, we tried putting the actuators in the hand itself, but then you sort of end up having these like
giant hands.
Yeah, giant hands that look weird.
Yeah,
and then they don't actually have enough degrees of freedom or enough strength. Mm-hmm. So then you realize, oh, okay, that's why you got to put the actuators in the forearm, and just like a human, you got to run cables through a narrow tunnel to operate the fingers. And then there's also a reason for not having all the fingers the same length. So it wouldn't be expensive from an energy or evolutionary standpoint to have all your fingers be the same length. So why not they're the same length?
Yeah, why not?
Because it's actually better to have different lengths. Your dexterity is better if you've got fingers of different length. There are more things you can do, and your dexterity is actually better if your fingers are of different length. Like there's a reason we've got a little finger. Like why not have a little finger this bigger?
Yeah,
because it allows you to it helps you with fine motor skills.
This little finger helps?
It does. If you lost your little finger, you'd have noticeably less dexterity.
So as you're figuring out this problem, you have to also figure out a way to do it so you can mass manufacture it. So it's to be as simple as possible.
It's actually going to be quite complicated. The as possible part is it's quite a high bar. If you want to have a humanoid robot that can do things that a human can do, it's a very high bar. So our new arm has 22 degrees of freedom instead of 11, and has the actuators in the forearm. And these all the actuators are designed from scratch. From physics first principles. The sensors are all designed from scratch, and we'll continue to put a tremendous amount of engineering effort into improving the hand. Like the hand, by hand I mean like the entire forearm from elbow forward.
Mm-hmm.
is really the hand. So that's incredibly difficult engineering, actually.
He ain't wrong. As I've said in the past and will continue to say, the gold standard, the time we'll know where Tesla has absolutely nailed it, is when an Optimus humanoid robot would be capable of delivering a superhuman hand job. The ultimate irony, of course, is many of the first customers, when this milestone is achieved, will be some of Elon's biggest detractors and haters. By the way, I'm actually not joking about the superhuman hand job. It's the perfect demonstration of manual dexterity. That level of finesse and precision, that's the bar Tesla must aim for.
And so the simplest possible version of a humanoid robot that can do even most, perhaps not all, of what a human can do is actually still very complicated. It's not simple. It's very difficult.
Can you just speak to what it takes for a great engineering team? For you, what I saw in Memphis, the supercomputer cluster, is just this intense drive towards simplifying the process, understanding the process, constantly improving it, constantly iterating it.
Well, it's easy to say simplify, and it's very difficult to do it. I have this very basic first principles algorithm that I run kind of as like a mantra, which is to first question the requirements, make the requirements less dumb. The requirements are always dumb to some degree. So if you want to start off by reducing the number of requirements, and no matter how smart the person is who gave you those requirements, they're still dumb to some degree. If you have to start there, because otherwise you could get the perfect answer to the wrong question. So try to make the question the least wrong possible. That's what question the requirements means. And then the second thing is try to delete whatever the step is, the part or the process step. Sounds very obvious, but people often forget to try deleting it entirely. And if you're not forced to put back at least 10% of what you delete, you're not deleting enough. And it's somewhat illogically, people often, most of the time, feel as though they've succeeded if they've not been forced to put things back in. But actually they haven't, because they've been overly conservative and have left things in there that shouldn't be. So, and only the third thing is try to optimize it or simplify it. Again, these all sound, I think, very, very obvious when I say them, but the number of times I've made these mistakes is more than I care to remember. That's why I have this mantra. So, in fact, I'd say the most common mistake of smart engineers is to optimize a thing that should not exist.
Like, for example, let's say all the automotive engineers for the last roughly a century almost, who were slowly optimizing the assembly of the rear of a vehicle with many hundreds of individually stamped pieces and parts, bolts, screws, connections, welds. And Tesla's like, wait a minute, do we even need all this why don't we just make a big gigantic casting instead and delete all this shit? And while we're on the subject of engineering, optimization, simplification, and so on, huge update over the weekend. Starship, SpaceX, the Raptor engines, if you know, you know. On screen now, version 1 Raptor engine, which I think it's probably fair to say looks somewhat like a bowl of spaghetti. Not hating here, but a little bit messy, right? Keep this in mind as we slide on over to version 2. A much more streamlined design. Still a bit of a mess, but hey, I mean, who am I to judge? I'm no rocket engineer. Nice. And now, version 3. How incredibly streamlined and efficient. Here's the side-by-side comparison. What we've just heard Elon Musk describe in terms of his philosophy around engineering, we can now see visually manifest on screen. Version 1 Raptor engine gets the job done. Clearly a lot of parts that are unnecessary. No point optimizing the parts that aren't needed. Just get rid of them. Huge improvement from version 1 to version 2. I mean, huge. And then version 3, holy fuck, a thing of beauty. I mean, this is an engineering marvel. So simple. Now, I know this is super nerdy engineering stuff, but bro, you can see visually, even if you don't give a fuck about engineering, you can see very clearly. Version 3, streamlined, simple, beautiful, elegant, far less complexity, far less parts. It's not even close. Now, Musk has a few thoughts on managing his time and how it relates to Tesla.
Speak to what it takes to be useful for somebody like you, where there's so many amazing, great teams. Like, how do you allocate your time to be the most useful?
Well, time is the true currency.
Yeah.
So it is tough to say what is the best allocation of time. I mean, there are, often say, if you look at, say, Tesla, Tesla this year will do over $100 billion in revenue. So that's $2 billion a week. If if I make slightly better decisions, I can affect the outcome by $1 billion. So then, I try to do the best decisions I can. And on balance, at least compared to the competition, pretty good decisions. But the marginal value of a better decision can easily be, in the course of an hour, $100 million.
Given that, how do you take risks? How do you do the algorithm that you mentioned? I mean, deleting, given that a small thing can be $1 billion. How do you decide to?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to look at it on a percentage basis, because if you look at it in absolute terms, it's just I would never get any sleep. I would just be like, I need to just keep working and work my brain harder, And I'm not trying to get as much as possible out of this meat computer. So it's not. It's pretty hard because you can just work all the time, and at any given point, like I said, a slightly better decision could be $100 million impact for Tesla or SpaceX, for that matter. But it is wild when considering the marginal value of time can be $100 million an hour at times or more.
Is your own happiness part of that equation of success?
It has to be to some degree. If I'm sad, if I'm depressed, I make worse decisions. So I can't have if I have zero recreational time, then I make worse decisions. So I don't have a lot, but it's above zero. I mean, my motivation, if I've got a religion of any kind, is a religion of curiosity.
I just finally wanted to remind everybody, in case you've forgotten or didn't know, just over a week ago, Musk posting this on X: should Tesla invest $5 billion into XAI, assuming the valuation is set by several credible outside investors. Obviously, board approval and shareholder vote are needed, so this is just to test the waters. 67.9% of respondents to this poll, nearly 1 million people voted, are in favour. As a result, once the poll has concluded, Musk posting this: looks like the public is in favour. We'll discuss with Tesla board. I think it's safe to say at this point in time, most investors believe that AI will catalyse the biggest opportunities in terms of investment that have ever been available in public markets. And it's not even close. There's a lot of money waiting on the sidelines to invest in some of these AI-related opportunities. I just want to share with you guys a hypothetical scenario, the ultimate imaginary fantasy about AI. Just imagine, hypothetically, there was a company, only one company, that had a truly unassailable lead in collecting real-world data. Remember earlier, Musk talked about the requirement of having unique sources of data? Just imagine there was a single company on the planet. This is obviously totally hypothetical, but imagine there was only one company that had meaningful data collection in the real world. And second place, so to speak, the rate of data collection was many orders of magnitude less. And that for anyone to catch up would be financially impossible, therefore ain't happening. Just imagine this was true. Just imagine. You'd be batshit insane as an investor not to at least consider owning a piece of that company, given the value of the data and the multi-decatrillion-dollar opportunity it would potentially unlock, not just with autonomy, but ultimately humanoid robots as well. Then imagine there was another company with brilliant leadership, incredible talent, making phenomenal progress, not with real-world AI, but with large language models. And then imagine that the first company with the real-world data had the opportunity to invest early in the second company, meaning that the first company would have every one of the necessary ingredients for artificial general intelligence. And because of the real-world data, there would be no other company on the planet that would ever be able to obtain the same ingredients. That would be absolutely insane. Of course, it's just a hypothetical. The company doesn't exist. They're not called Tesla. And so I just thought I'd randomly share this thought exercise. Just imagine what could be. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Plus, has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend, seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game has improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.